What's good, YouTube? That182 here, back again once again. And today, I am your coach of the Tucson Terrakions in the UCL, the United Championship League, for what could possibly be our final team preparation video of the season. We are currently preparing for our Week 15 battle, our final battle of the season against the #1 rated team in the league, the St. Louis Rampardos, coached by Dan, aka A-Drive. And we literally have the biggest uphill challenge ahead of us. I don't get it. The other people in playoffs, Patters had to fight the Manchester Magazones this week. I think Shady and Joey both got bye weeks from Leo, and they've already fought their toughest competitors this week. And then we're left with the #1 ranked team in the league. So we literally have like the biggest uphill challenge against us if we want to stay in the playoffs, or in contention for the playoffs, I should say. But we're gonna try our hardest and do the best that we can. I don't even know why I point this out. I'm not discrediting Dan or his Wi-Fi skills, but his team is incredibly insane. So you have this incredibly insane team, and then Dan, who's extremely proficient at Wi-Fi as well, and you put them together, and you have one hell of a hurdle for us to get over. But people said we wouldn't beat Joey Pokegame. We beat the Bronx Barricades. People said we wouldn't beat El Master Show Off. We beat the Durham Dragons. People said we wouldn't beat the Pittsburgh Pichus. We beat Num Nexus. So that doesn't mean that just because they're amazing at Wi-Fi, we're just going to give up and go and cower in a corner. We're going to try our hardest to get past the St. Louis Rampardos and make sure that we can stay in the playoffs, because if we do beat Dan and the St. Louis Rampardos this week, then we are pretty much 100% guaranteed to be in the playoffs. Because the way that it works is, if Shady, Patters, Joey, and I all end up with the same score, I think it then reverts back to who beat who. But I still think it'll end up being a three-way tie. I don't know. I'm not going to think about all that right now. We'll discuss all the references and all the rules and whatnot later on. But today, like I said, we're here for our Week 15 team prep video. So if you're hyped, and of course if you're proud of the Nappy Nation, make sure you smash the like button down below for us, because you already know your support is greatly appreciated, especially if you're supporting the Tucson Terrakions up until the very end. Make sure you smash the like button down below for us. See that Tucson Terrakions logo though? Y'all see that logo though? Yeah. Anyways, we did do a little bit of team building with Num Nexus, and we put together what we feel is the absolute best team to handle the St. Louis Rampardos monsters. So up first, let me go ahead and break down their team. The St. Louis Rampardos, their draft is, like I said, incredibly insane and crazy. Up first, they have Mega Metagross from OU, Raikou and Conkeldurr as well. From UU, they have Hydreigon, Crobat, and Vaporeon. From RU, there's Aromatisse, Tangrowth, and Omastar. And then NU, Golurk, Kecleon, and Mesprit. So there are a few lower tier threats they have that are still kind of scary, like Tangrowth and Omastar and Golurk. Then pretty much everything from OU and UU are terrifying. So we'll see. I know when it comes to Dan, pretty much all he has to do is build a team of 5 and then add Mega Metagross. That's what I was thinking. I was like, he could just add Mega Metagross to anything. And spoiler alert, we've all unanimously agreed, even Dan as well, we agreed that in Season 2 of UCL, if that ever ends up being a thing, that Mega Metagross will not be allowed. It will be banned. It's not because Dan has beat everyone with Mega Metagross, or beat the majority of the competition with Mega Metagross, but it's just because in a draft-type format, it's very, very hard to get past a Pokemon like that. And there are plenty of people that have gone up against Mega Metagross this season, and they just have no answer for it. They have no check for it. So in essence, that's not fair for one team to draft a Mon that is just so dominant that, you know, like I said, it's a draft type format. You only have 12 Pokemon. If you don't get the chance to draft a Pokemon, or you just don't think about it and you don't draft a Pokemon at all that can counter that one Mon, then you're pretty much screwed. And we're kind of sort of on the cusp of that reality right now. You know, we really don't have any Mons on our team that can confidently switch in to Mega Metagross and eat up a hit. We might have one or two, and even then, if they go down, then Mega Metagross just tears through our entire team. So either way, looking at Dan's team, I feel like Mega Metagross, Tangrowth, Crobat, Vaporeon, Hydreigon, maybe Omastar or Aromatisse. Aromatisse would be a good pick for him to scoop up this week. Crobat as well. Those could be the ones that he ends up scooping up and bringing. Really the biggest issue for us right now, of course, is the Mega Metagross. We have our checks and what we will, our plan to handle that as well. But the more important thing that determines whether a certain Mon's on our team sweep or not, surprisingly enough, is Hydreigon. And I'll explain to you why here momentarily, but Hydreigon, it's just such a good mon. I love Hydreigon so much. It is my second favorite Pokemon for so many reasons. But in a league type format, it's so good because its move pool is so diverse. It is so diverse. And its speed is like base 98, which is almost 100, 2 points away, which is incredibly, what's the term? I don't want to say above average. You know, if you just have a timid Hydreigon or a Choice Scarf Hydreigon, which I think definitely will be brought this week by the St. Louis Rampardos. So Choice Scarf Hydreigon can seriously do some work to our team because, as you can see, the first mon that we have here is Liability, our Krookodile. And this week we are going super simple with it. Choice Scarf, Moxie, Jolly Nature as well, Earthquake, Stone Edge, Superpower, and Crunch. Earthquake, of course, we can hit everything for decent damage, including that Mega Metagross. And this Liability is the reason why I feel like Hydreigon, especially a Scarf Hydreigon, might be a thing that that Dan, the St. Louis Rampardos bring, because of course a Scarf Hydreigon outspeeds our Scarf Crook. I think a Superpower one-shots from Hydreigon. I'm not sure about a Dragon Pulse. I think we might have a chance to live a Dragon Pulse at full HP. Draco Meteor, I don't think we're living, but if he's running Scarf, I don't see him scarfing himself in a Draco Meteor, so I don't know. But Earthquake hits everything on his team for decent damage, of course, besides the mons that are off the ground like Hydreigon and Crobat, and Vaporeon and Tangrowth. Vaporeon and Tangrowth core is something that could potentially be very scary, and we really need like 3 Boxy boosts. Oh, excuse me. Really need like 3 Boxy boosts up to have any chance at doing decent damage to them, and either of them can just 100% stop Crook in his tracks. So it's very risky, it's very scary. We just want to try and send Liability in there, not necessarily to get a Moxie boost. If the chance for a Moxie boost is there, great, but it's really more so there to outspeed and hit another mon on their team really hard. Stone Edge is there for the Crobat. Superpower is there for the Hydreigon. Crunch is there for pretty much everything else on the team, so we can get decent damage off the Mesprit, which I don't know if he's gonna bring. It's there to hit that. The Golurk as well. The Crobat. Well, we already have Stone Edge, but we lock ourselves in a Crunch. That's still decent damage across the board there. Raikou as well, if we don't get a chance for Earthquake, and really the Metagross too. I mean, Metagross will take a Crunch better than an Earthquake, but still, it's decent stab damage off on some mons on his team. We decided to go with Crunch over Knockoff, again, because of the fact that we're Scarf Moxie. Knockoff would be nice on a few of his mons, but really, if it's Scarf Moxie, you gotta kind of sort of think long-term, like what move is going to help out better long-term. And plus, Crunch does have the chance to lower defense too, so I don't know. Up next, we have 30 minutes of Rotom-Heat. He has been easily the most used mon on our team this season. I think he only sat out 1 week, and he's been used every other week, so he had to show up this week, especially against the threat of Mega Metagross. Overheat, Pain Split, Volt Switch, Will-O-Wisp. This week we are running a different Rotom. For the first time this season, we are running a physically defensive Rotom, not specially defensive. Normally we'll end up running a calm Rotom, but we are physically defensive this time. 252 HP, 252 in defense, 4 in special attack, bold nature. That is so that we can eat up a Zen Headbutt, if that is a thing from Mega Metagross. We could also, maybe if he ends up bringing Crobat, we can wall it that way. Same thing for Conkeldurr. You know, we can eat up a hit here or there, but he's made primarily for Mega Metagross because Overheat one-shots. Overheat 100% one-shots Mega Metagross, and that is just pure greatness. That is pure greatness. Anytime we can get decent chip damage off on the big threat that is Mega Metagross, then that's great for me. Overheat one-shots. Volt Switch does decent amount of damage. If we do need to Volt Switch back out, then that is something that we can do. I don't ever see Dan leaving Metagross in against Rotom-Heat, because unless he's sitting there trying to think that we're going to over-predict and go for Volt Switch or something like that, and he can safely stay in, if there's any sort of damage on that Metagross, Overheat is completely obliterating its life. 100%. And Zen Headbutt, to us right now, cannot one-shot. Zen Headbutt, of course, does have the chance to flinch, but also has the chance to miss. So even if he wants to stay in, if he is carrying Zen Headbutt, because I think last week he took on PK in the Philadelphia Friars and he didn't run Zen Headbutt, But if he is not running Zen Headbutt for whatever reason, there's pretty much nothing else on his moveset that he can get that will really hit us. We are quad resistant to Bullet Punch, we're quad resistant to Meteor Mash, we're immune to Earthquake, Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, we can eat that up perfectly fine, a Hammer-On, we can eat that up perfectly fine. So really Zen Headbutt is his best bet, his best option to hit our Rotom with. And as long as we can live one and not flinch, we're good to go. We are good to go, and we're good to click Overheat. I don't know if that will be one of those things where if I send Rotom in, if I ever have Rotom in against Metagross, if I just confidently click Overheat, because he does have mons like Vaporeon or Hydreigon or Omastar that can confidently just eat up an Overheat. So I don't know. It's one of those things that's very, very risky. If he doesn't have Conch Elder, then I'm sure I could confidently click Will-O-Wisp as well. It just sucks because of Will-O-Wisp accuracy. I wish they would just make it 100%. I mean, it's a ghost type. It's a spooky, scary ghost type move. Just let it be 100%, goddammit. Because even if Rotom-Heat doesn't end up killing the Metagross, if we can burn the Metagross, then that would be very, very nice. It would be beneficial for the rest of our team. We just have to be careful because the Vaporeon carries Wish and Heal Bell. And it would suck if we end up sacrificing Rotom all for the sake of a Will-O-Wisp, and Vaporeon just gets rid of it. So it would be like Rotom 30 minutes went down for nothing. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Like I said, it does also work well with the Crobat. The Conch Elder we could even hit from. The Tangrowth, I'm sure we could eat anyone hit from, even if he wants to use Knockoff. I don't think Tangrowth, does Tangrowth get, he gets Ancient Power, right? I don't know if he gets Rock Slide. So that would be the best thing he could hit us with, which he very well might carry Ancient Power on it just to have something to defend himself against if he ends up bringing the Tangrowth. Because I think even a Assault Vest Tangrowth takes decent damage from Overheat, so I don't know. It is what it is. Up next, we have Titania, our Mega Gardevoir, and for the first week, she is donning new colors. She is going to be showing up to the battle in all black because this is the last week. This is the last week of the season. This could be the potential last time that Titania goes into battle or leads the Tucson Terrakions into battle because she is our team captain. So we had to do something special. She is Shiny Mega Gardevoir. Synchronized, of course, Hyper Voice, Psyshock, Shadow Ball, and Will-O-Wisp. We are 252 special attack, 252 speed, and we're modest natured, not timid. And this is where the fear of Hydreigon comes into play. This is where the fear of Hydreigon comes into play because if he ends up running a timid Hydreigon, he will outspeed. If he's a Scarf Hydreigon, he outspeeds no matter what. And the odds of him bringing a Scarf Hydreigon are more than likely, or more likely than not. Oh damn, struggled through that. It's more than likely that he is going to bring a Scarf Hydreigon. So when it was team building with Nexus, the thought process was, yes, it'd be nice to run timid because if we run timid, we do outspeed Hydreigon. 100%. Even if he runs a timid Hydreigon, we still outspeed because our base speed, once we Mega Evolve, is base 100. He's only base 98. So if we're max speed with a beneficial nature, we will always outspeed that Hydreigon. Now, since it's, I don't want to say obvious, but since we're so convinced that there is going to be a Scarf Hydreigon, it doesn't make a difference if we run timid or not. Because everything else on the St. Louis Rampardos team that outspeeds Titania, we still won't have a chance of outspeeding if we're timid max speed. Mons like Raikou, Crobat, Metagross, we just can't outspeed them. We just can't. The next fastest Mon, like I said, is Hydreigon, then Mesprit. And with us being max speed modest, we still outspeed Mesprit. So that's good there. The thought of him not bringing Hydreigon might be a thing because of the fact that we have Mega Gardevoir. But at the same time, we have Mons like Flygon and Krookodile and Gastrodon who might all be going for ground type moves, and the fact that you have another Levitator off the ground only helps protect his Mega Metagross even more. So, I don't know. It's one of those things that's up in the air. But like I said, if he does end up bringing a Scarf Hydreigon, he will outspeed. If it's not Scarf, then oh well. That's the least likely action if he ends up bringing a Life Orb Hydreigon or something like that. Then if it's Timid Nature max speed, then he will outspeed. The best thing that he could do to us, he could Dark Pulse, which does about half. He could try and flinch us that way. Flash Cannon does about 70% as well, so we're safe. We can't be one-shot by the Hydreigon, but we do 100% one-shot with Hyper Voice in return. Now, whether or not Dan will ever leave the Hydreigon in against our Mega Gardevoir Titania, that's a whole other question altogether, but as long as we can take one hit, again, not get flinched, we're good to go. But Hyper Voice, Psyshock, Shadow Ball, Will-O-Wisp. Will-O-Wisp is there, again, just in case he ever wants to try and predict a Hyper Voice and send in Metagross. We can click Will-O-Wisp and try and predict it and burn the hell out of that. We can burn the hell out of a lot of things on this team. The Hydreigon, the Crobat, the Tangrowth. You know, we can get chip damage off on a lot of things on this team, which would be nice. It was one of those things where this week we kind of we thought about running Taunt as well, like for the Vaporeon. But it was one of those things where this week we had our 3 moves, and the last move set was just up in the air. It's like, what do we do? What are we gonna do with this last slot? And I think it came down to Taunt and Will-O-Wisp, and we just decided that Will-O-Wisp was safer because Taunt really just focuses on like maybe the Crobat for Defog or Roost, and the Vaporeon for Protect, Wish. It focuses on the Amistar so that we can keep it from Shell Smashing, things like that. So I don't know. Taunt was just a little more specific. Will-O-Wisp just did more damage overall. Like I said, Hyper Voice hits a lot of the team for decent damage. Hyper Voice even hits Mega Metagross for about 30 to 40%, which is still a ton of damage considering it's resistant and a Mega Metagross. Psyshock is there to hit the Conch Elder if he ends up bringing it. Psyshock does do more because the Assault Vest Conch Elder is still a thing. I think, no, never mind, take that back. Even if he brings Assault Vest Conch Elder, Hyper Voice still does like 97% min. Hyper Voice still tears through him, so Psyshock is really just there for coverage, like the Crobat, the Vaporeon, and hits harder. You know, just a few Mon Psyshock hits harder on, and Shadow Ball is there for the Mega Metagross. If we ever get the chance to predict appropriately, Shadow Ball does like 75% to Mega Metagross. That is delicious damage. That is delicious, amazing damage, and I would love to hit for that much damage. Like I said, Mega Metagross does unfortunately outspeed and completely obliterates our life with a Meteor Mash, so there's really no point for him to go for a Bullet Punch. If he does for whatever reason decide to go for a Bullet Punch, we do have a slim chance of living a Bullet Punch, but Meteor Mash absolutely destroys our life. He could click Bullet Punch just for accuracy purposes, because Meteor Mash does have a chance to miss, but I think Meteor Mash min damage is like 200% to Gardevoir, so we just get blown the fuck back. But either way, up next we have Canada, our Chansey. Canada had an amazing showing last week against JYT Camber and the Carolina Calios, and Canada had to come back this week. She is regular, 252 HP, 252 defense, bold nature, holding the Eviolite, Seismic Toss, Soft Boil, Thunder Wave, and Ice Beam. Canada is the one Mon that we have that can confidently eat hits from Mega Metagross. Everything besides Hammer Arm does 25 to 30%. We can confidently eat hits from Mega Metagross. Hammer Arm I think does like 60%. And my biggest thing is, for the past couple weeks, I've been planning to bring counter Chansey against the St. Louis Rampardos and Dan, specifically the Metagross, but if Metagross doesn't carry Hammer Arm, which he very well could, but if he doesn't carry Hammer Arm, he's not touching our Chansey with enough damage to make counter worth it. Like, yes, counter would technically give us more damage than a Seismic Toss would, but if Dan happened to catch our battle last week and see how much work counter Chansey put in, he could very well try and run like substitute Mega Metagross. And on the turn that he predicts us to go for counter, he clicks sub, and then Metagross behind a substitute destroys our entire team. There's nothing we can do. So in this case, we're just gonna do what Chansey does best and just Seismic Toss the shit out of things. I think we'll do about the same amount of damage to him as he would with us with Meteor Mash or Ice Punch or anything like that. Soft Void is there, of course, to regain HP back. Thunder Wave is there to help with Titania. Because Titania is modest nature, if we can Thunder Wave a few different things on the St. Louis Rampardos team, that will make it so that Titania can come in, confidently outspeed, and just Hyper Voice all over everything on the team. That is amazing. I know we spoke about Will-O-Wisp on 30 minutes and Titania for the Metagross, but honestly, if we could Thunder Wave the Metagross, that would put him in a position where he would have to go for Bullet Punch over and over and over again if he wanted to get damage, or just swap out. Or that would force him to bring in Vaporeon and Heal Bell. So Thunder Wave is there. It's very, very nice. I would love to click Thunder Wave multiple times and slow down a lot of his team, especially like the Crobat, the Metagross, the Hydreigon. Those 3 mons I would love to Thunder Wave and have a chance to run house on them as well. Of course, you can't Thunder Wave the Raikou. Raikou's one of those mons that's kind of sort of up in the air, where he could bring it, he could not bring it. You know, we have a lot of ground types. You know, Scarf Crook is a thing. We outspeed the Raikou, so I don't know. It's one of those things where it really just comes down to his team building and whether or not he'll decide to bring it along. If he does, he would have to slap HP Grass on it, because I know you guys see Cindy is up next. He would have to slap HP Grass on it, or else he really can't touch Cindy. at all. I mean, there's extra sensory. We can eat up one of those and fire back with an Earth Power, and I would probably do more to him with Earth Power than he would to us with extra sensory. So I don't know. It's one of those things up in the air. But the last move on Canada is I almost said is Chansey, is Ice Beam, and that is just because the St. Louis Rampardos have Golurk. And there's a very good chance that they might bring Golurk. Like I said at the beginning of the video, a lot of their lower tier threats are very scary as well. And there's a very good chance that they could bring Golurk, because Golurk, if he predicts us to bring Gengar, Golurk could hit hard on that. Golurk could Dynamic Punch with no guard and completely obliterate Chansey, confuse it. I think Dynamic Punch from a banded Golurk to Chansey does like 75% or something like that. I think that might have been with Iron Fist, though. I don't know. It just does a lot of work. Ice Beam unfortunately only does like 25% to Golurk, but you never know. Ice Beam has a chance to freeze. Not that I'm playing for hacks. I want to think about the battle against the Bristol City Blazekins again. But not that I'm playing for hacks, but Ice Beam is just the best option for us to handle the Golurk. Chansey does get access to Grass Knot as well, but Ice Beam does more than Grass Knot would. You would think this gigantic ghost ground robot would weigh more than it does, but nope. Couple that with Chansey's piss poor special attack, but still, Ice Beam just overall does more damage, especially to the rest of the team. Ice Beam can touch Hydreigon, it can touch Crobat, it can touch Tangrowth. You know, it's just, for whatever reason, if we want to click Ice Beam, if he's afraid of his Golurk taking damage from Ice Beam, then great. But if his Golurk ends up running Drain Punch, then, I don't know, it's just one of those situations where Chansey is favorable against everyone else on his team except for the Golurk. So, I don't know. We'll just have to see what ends up happening. Up next, we have Cindy, our Gastrodon. Cindy had to come back for the final week. Cindy is nice and bold nature, 244 HP, 252 defense, 12 in special attack. And we're rocking Scald, Earth Power, Recover, and Toxic this week with a Rocky Helmet. The Rocky Helmet, the Rocky Helmet is there primarily for all the physical attackers that the St. Louis Rampardos have. The Metagross, the Conkeldurr, the potential Hydreigon, the Crobat, the potential knockoff for a Tangrowth, stuff like that. It just 100% deals out that additional damage. And like we spoke about before with Rotom-Heat or Gardevoir, you know, there's that chip damage that could possibly happen on the Metagross or on the other mons, and we have a chance to knock out then. Because as you might notice, we're not running Stealth Rock on any of our mons. Stealth Rock, while it does do decent chip damage, and while the St. Louis Rampardos only have one mon to get rid of them, Crobat with Defog, I'm not too super worried about it this week because the potential threats that need to be taken down, Stealth Rock doesn't do a ton of damage to. I mean, again, there's that notion of any damage is good damage, but when it comes to the turns, I'd rather use a turn either setting up or going for some sort of offensive move than going for Stealth Rocks when in this situation they're not detrimental. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. It's kind of like a priority type of thing. But Cindy is here. Gastrodon is here. Yo, I didn't nickname Cindy. Oh, I hope it was Jen named Cindy. I hope it was. I hope it was. I didn't nickname it Cindy. I'm so sad. But Cindy is here. Scald, Earth Power, Recover, Toxic, super standard set. Scald can touch and burn a lot of things on their team as well. Earth Power actually does more than Earthquake to Mega Metagross because I think Mega Metagross' special defense is lower than its defense. So we do a few points more in damage with Earth Power. Same with Amistar. Amistar has decent HP and a really good defense, whereas special defense is not all that. And unless he's carrying Ice Beam, we 100% wall the Amistar. I don't see any reason for him not to carry Ice Beam with all the ground types we have, but he would have to Ice Beam us to do any sort of damage where we can turn around and Earth Power in return. Same with the Vaporeon. You know, he could try and Toxic Stall us, we could try and Toxic Stall him. You know, because we are Storm Drain, the Vaporeon really can't touch us with anything besides Ice Beam. So he'd have to carry Scald, Ice Beam, and if he's got Protect and Wish and he has no Toxic, then that's a battle that we win. That's a battle that Cindy wins right then and there. But if he does carry Toxic, then that'll be a little bit of a stall war back and forth. Especially because we don't carry Aromatherapy on Chansey. That would be kind of scary. That would be really, really kind of scary. But Gastrodon is here just to be a wall against a lot of their mons. And I don't know. I don't really want to end up in that situation where it's Cindy v Vaporeon. But if it comes down to it, if Vaporeon has little enough health, then we could try and Earth Power it and get that special D drop and just, I don't know, it's one of those things where it just becomes a stalwart at that point. So we have to see. Cindy is the main reason why we're thinking that Tangrowth might show up. In addition to our liability and our other ground types, Tangrowth is definitely a big problem in terms of a wall for our team. So we just have to hope that we can feel all over those feelers that Tangrowth has and break through. But Cindy is here, hopefully to be a wall on our team. We have 2 bold walls. Well, 3 technically if you include Chansey, but I see Chansey's more of a special wall than physical. It's just it's built to take physical hits as well. So we have 1 specifically special wall in Chansey and 2 primary physical walls in 30 minutes on Rotom and Sydney our Gastrodon. So Tanya has a little bit of special bulk behind her as well, but she's not a wall of sorts. So I don't know. Last but not least, another MVP from the past 2 weeks worth of battles. Blue Note is returning, and this is one of those weeks where the 6th mon on our team, Nexus and I were building, and we were thinking of either Flygon, because Flygon can hit really hard on a lot of the St. Louis Rampardos team. There was Gengar, who can hit kind of hard on a lot of the St. Louis Rampardos team as well. We decided against Gengar because that would have meant that we would have had an entire team of special attackers. Cindy is special, Titania is special, Rotom is special, Chansey with Ice Beam technically is special, there's Seismic Toss, but still we would have an entire team of special attackers. So if he has a special wall, then we just get completely walled. So we kind of ruled that out as well. And Lucario, we spoke about adding to the team originally, and we revisited it again at the end, and we looked at it, and there is a chance, there is a slight chance for Lucario to sweep. Blue Note is here, Life Orb, Jolly Nature, 2v2 attack, 2v2 speed, 4 in HP. We thought about running an agility Lucario, because that worked out for us last week. We were able to take out the Victini perfectly fine. But we decided to run a Swords Dance Lucario instead. We have Close Combat, Extreme Speed, Ice Punch, and Swords Dance. We really don't have too many chances to set up a Swords Dance. Really, I think the best chance that we would have would be against, like, the Vaporeon, maybe. And even then, we don't really have that much of a chance because, if he does go for a Scald, which I don't see any reason for him not to, but if he does go for a Scald and burns us, then that's a problem. If he goes for a Scald and he doesn't get the burn, and we get a free Swords Dance up, we are Gucci. We are Gucci. We are good to punch holes through a lot of things on this team. And unless he's carrying Earthquake on Metagross, he cannot one-shot Lucario. He can't. Maybe if he has a Hammer Arm. Hammer Arm would still hurt. But still, if he has Earthquake on Metagross, then of course he one-shots, he outspeeds naturally. That's why we discussed Agility Lucario as well. But we wanted to go ahead and try and bring in Blue Note to punch holes in some of those walls, because I think at +2, we definitely outspeed Vaporeon, and +2 Close Combat one-shots a bold max HP, max defense Vaporeon. So we can tear through that then. Tangrowth is still going to be a little bit of an issue. Close Combat doesn't one-shot, but at the same time, I don't think Tangrowth has anything that one-shot us. And like I said, unless he's got Scarf Hydreigon, which could prove to be a problem, or Metagross with Earthquake or Hammer Arm, Metagross really can't touch us. You know, we're going to eat up a Meteor Mash, fine. We eat up a Bullet Punch, fine. A Zen Headbutt would hurt, but it doesn't one-shot. So we're kind of sort of safe there. So this is one of those things that's like, if we get the chance type of thing, then we'll go for it. And we debated going for Blaze Kick or Ice Punch. What was another move? We're thinking about Bullet Punch. No, E-Speed touches everything better on the team. There's a third move we were discussing, Earthquake. Earthquake does a ton of damage to Metagross as well. But we decided to go with Ice Punch because it has more coverage across the team. It touches the Hydreigon, it touches the Crobat, touches the Tangrowth. So hopefully, if we get the chance, if we can read a few movesets, or if we figure out if Amon is Scarfed or Banded or something like that, and we can send Blue Note in to force a switch and get a free Swords Dance up, then we're going to dish out some decent damage, and that would be very, very nice indeed. Kind of sort of like last week, how we forced the Carolina Keldeo's Registeel out and got a free agility up. So, I don't know. It'll be an interesting battle to say the least. We're not particularly prepared to handle all of their threats, but I feel like this is the best that we can do. If we don't end up winning and we don't make it to playoffs, still this season was absolutely amazing. Our initial goal was to go positive with 8-7. Our secondary goal was to go 10-5. And if we lose this week, we're going to end up going 11-4. So we've already gone above and beyond what our 2 set goals for this season were. So I am absolutely ecstatic and happy for someone who doesn't Wi-Fi battle to have ended up putting up a record that we have so far. That's incredibly amazing in my opinion, and I'm very, very happy about it. So we're still going to try our hardest to beat Dan and the St. Louis Rampardos, but if it doesn't happen, I'm still more than happy I know they are trying to keep us out of playoffs 100%. I saw the end of Dan's video last week, and he was saying it is their job to keep us out of playoffs because it's one less team that they have to worry about getting to that coveted #1 spot. But with that, if you guys are hyped for tomorrow's battle, it'll be up tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, by the way. If you're a proud member of the Nappy Nation, and you've been supporting the Tucson Terrakions from the beginning all the way until the end, make sure you smash our like button down below for us, and let us know in the comment section what you think of our team this week, and any changes that you'd like to make, or anything else like that. But with that, I'm going to get about. Thank y'all once again for your support, not just on today's video, but throughout the entire season. You guys are the real MVPs. You are the best. Thank you all so much for your support, and thank you for checking out the video. You know me, to Devil 982.